So I have really been wanting to do this video for a while because this is the video that I would have wanted when I went to buy a meal. So this is the Mockmill 100, the NutriMill Classic, and then I previously owned the NutriMill Harvest. And when I sent it back, I didn't send them back the book, which I felt bad. Maybe I should have. I just didn't. But now I have a picture of the NutriMill Harvest so that we can talk about the Harvest to see which of these would be the best fit for you. I have seen so many videos. When I decided to buy a meal, I saw a lot of videos on either the Harvest and these, because I feel like these two are kind of the most recent or newer ones. And I feel like Mockmill is doing a lot of incentive to buy the meal. I'm not really sure about the NutriMill the NutriMill Harvest. So I went to buy a Mockmill because I saw some reviews. It seemed really good. And then when I went to buy it, they were all stocked back really far out. So I was like, well, I mean, the reviews seem like this one would be very similar to this. And this one is so beautiful. I love the wood design. I have pictures. I'll probably stop this video at some point, insert some of those videos, and then show you. But it fit beautifully to just match my area. It was just so pretty, and I liked it. However, I had issues with glazing. Since sending it back, I have heard that other people have had trouble with glazing, and they have troubleshooted and worked it out just fine. However, I think I am glad that I sent mine back, even though this one isn't as pretty and it isn't as fast as the NutriMill. So if you're thinking meals, this one would be the cheapest or the cheaper one. This one would be the next up in price, and then this one, and then the Mockmill 200. Now, Mockmill has a wood version. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's bamboo. I think this is bamboo, and then this is another wood. But they have a Mockmill 100 in the wood and a Mockmill 200 in the wood, but the price just seemed too much for me. I just couldn't justify it at the time. So I decided with the Mockmill 100. Okay, so we went price, we listed them in order of price. The speed would be next. So this one is going to mill the fastest wheat and berries and whatever else you're gonna, wheat berries or lentils and beans and all those things. So this will be faster, and then this will be faster, and then this will be the slowest out of the three that I'm showing you today. So I decided for me, this one was more expensive than this one. I don't know, I'm not saying prices just because they may change, but I think they'll still, the order of the prices will probably stay the same, even if they go up or down. So I decided that the 100, I could get the Mockmill 100 for cheaper than what I paid for this one. And I decided that even though it was a little bit slower, I would just do other things in the kitchen and I would make do. The 200 was about $100 more. So for $100 more, you're gonna get faster flour. And so some of you, that may be necessary. I use a lot of flour almost daily, but to me, the Mockmill 100 has been sufficient. And I got this one at a yard sale. So I was so excited to have this because I used the NutriMill Classic while I was waiting for my Mockmill. So hoping all of this makes sense. But basically, I got my NutriMill. It started glazing. And it was glazing with soft white and hard white. And I think the issue is that in the instructions that it tells you, in the videos that I've watched and in the book, it tells you to, it's been a while, so hopefully I'll tell you correctly, but it tells you to tighten the stones until you hear them grinding, back off a little bit, and then grind them. I did that, and the stones glazed over. And I was so sad, and then I called the company. The company, I will say, is great to work with. So if you are interested in a, I forget the word, basically they use burrs, I think steel burrs for these, and then this and this would be stone. So if you want a steel one, if you want the burrs, this is the way to go because it's the cheaper of the three. It mills it quickly, and the company really was great to work with. I think I had my mill about 2 weeks. I had used it a ton and loved it, but when I called the company, the lady I talked with acted like maybe that with soft wheat that happens frequently, and so she suggested I switch to the classic. So I didn't really want to switch to the classic, so I was trying to decide which one to do. But they were great. They let me send it back, they reimbursed me, and then when I got this, I actually bought, I'll show you later, you can buy a filter. That was the only thing that needed to be replaced, was the filter, and it has worked awesome. So I don't want to I really hate to give like a negative review of this, but I think between these two, I preferred this one. Now, you can find, if you've already purchased this one, do not fret. I don't know why you'd be watching this video if you've already purchased this one, but maybe you will. If you've purchased this one, go on there and look. I can't remember if they said tighten it back up or loosen it, but I think you just have to back off the stones and make sure that they're not milling. But it did it more than once for me, and I was just really sad. And then I'll pause this one in just a second and show you some of the videos of when I had the NutriMill. It was just a pain when you took it apart and then you took the thing. Every time they were glazed, you had to put like 2 cups of rice through the harvest to clean the glazed stones. And then, I'll show you in a video, but basically the rims would get flour down in them. And it was just really a pain. And so I had to get the vacuum and kind of like suction down in there to try to get it. So I'm gonna stop this video. I'm gonna insert the NutriMill harvest video, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so it's not difficult to take the thing apart. I really like that. This just pops out. This piece just clicks in there, you twist it. But this was the frustrating part. Right here, stuff gets stuck in the housing. And there's a rubber piece that's supposed to kind of keep that from happening, but it doesn't work. And then stuff can get down in between the housing and the rubber piece. So that was just frustrating. And then here you can see there's a little bit of glazing. This isn't bad. Sometimes it would just glaze all the way over, and then you'd have to run the rice through if you were doing soft white. Okay, so now that you've seen a couple things that I don't like, I'm gonna go through each mill and kind of show you. You just saw this one. I do think that it is beautiful. I do think it is prettier, honestly, than the Mockmill 100 and 200 in wood. So if you're gonna go for a stone grind, still consider this one. I do think that the parts maybe are from America, so maybe they would be easier to get parts. And I definitely think that if you play with it, I watched a video and the lady was saying, basically for this one, you twist the hopper to adjust it, which is really nice. And when I watched the video, she said it could be difficult, but I thought, I'm sure it's not that difficult. And then when I got it, I was like, oh, I see what they're talking about. It is a little difficult. It's not as maybe intuitive as this one. And I did see a review where a lady said, because the instructions and the video tell you to tighten it until the stones are skipping, that she actually damaged her stones and she sent hers back. So that was another reason that I sent mine back, because I wasn't sure, had I damaged the stones, had I not? And I think it was just getting so hot because they were close together that it was creating the glazing. So you can clean the glazing. I did it a couple of times while I was milling. So anyway, so this one is a great mill, but in my opinion, just not as good maybe. And I think this Mockmill probably has, as far as stones, have been out longer. Okay, so let's look at the NutriMill Classic first. I think it has been around a super long time. It is an impact mill with steel burrs. And so it comes, you can put this, you can store this down here in the drawer, or I just leave it up here so that you have, the hopper is extended. So basically you pour, and I'm gonna do it in a minute, you pour some wheat berries in here, chop it, You have to make sure, everybody says, make sure that this goes all the way in. They have yes and no. If it's here, you will have flour come everywhere. So you take it out. This one, like I said, is pretty old. I do like it. The filter I had to remove. The only thing is that it is a little bit, after being used to the Harvest and the Mockmill where it just comes out, it is a little bit tricky or bothersome to, take this apart. And because this is always here, either you're gonna have to wipe that down or just have old flour in your flour. So that's up to you. So if you find one at a yard sale, or, goodness, real life people, okay, you have to really push it on there, see? And this rim, if you purchase this and you cannot get it back on, put a little bit of oil on here, and then it snaps on fine. It took me a couple tries to figure that out because when I got it, I cleaned it really well. So I love it, but this is an extra step. So it is nice to have a bowl. It blends it really quickly. You can basically blend anything in here. It's just, you're gonna have to kind of clean this a little bit, and you constantly have to dump it into something else. So that's the only thing. And because it's so large.
You have it backwards, Mom.
I started to say. See, it's more difficult. Because it is larger, it did that last time, so it wasn't true. Because it is larger, I do not keep this one on my counter. I actually have a pantry right behind me. It works pretty well. I set it in the floor with my buckets of wheat, and I have an extension cord that I just run out here. So when I want to use this, let's say I'm using maybe, I don't know, a ton of wheat. I really like to make Ezekiel bread, and it has a mixture of different grains and legumes. And so I might put it in here so that it's just done quickly. This thing it gets all of it very, very fine. So you can do coarser, but I think it's still a little fine. So I will just show you this one really quick so you can see how loud it is. But I think that's pretty much the whole of it.
And it's really loud.
Yeah.
It sounds like a car.
Everywhere. Maybe someone can tell me in the comments. Maybe it's because it's an old one. Like I said, this is the only one I've had. It does work wonderful. I just tap that off, and then, super fine. It actually is not really warm at all. So that's really good, which I didn't do very much. But I'm just gonna dump it in here. I'm gonna make some bread in a minute. So I'm just gonna collect them all. But you heard how loud it is. To me, it doesn't sound like a car. It sounds like a jet airplane.
Yeah, I didn't mean car.
landing.
I meant something very loud and scary.
So, again, man, I guess this is why it's good that you see real life. I had this down, but I haven't been using it because I got my Mockmill. But I used this one while I was waiting for my other mill because it's used and was a lot cheaper because I got it at a yard sale. I will keep it as a backup mill. I do like it, but I do think that this one's just a little bit easier to use. Okay, so moving on to the next one.
Pick a side.
I'll mill for you first, and then I'll show you the inside. You do have to turn it on. I should talk first. You do have to turn it on before you add the wheat berries, or it can stop the stones up. And these are, this is, I think you know this, but I'm so sorry. I keep saying it. This one and this one are both stone grind mills. So the reason I wanted to go with this one is because I saw that the Mockmill, you could re-mill things. So let's say you did corn and you wanted to mill it coarsely, and then you wanted to pour it through again and do it a little bit finer. I loved that. The NutriMill says that you cannot do that. The NutriMill also, I went back and checked, this one specifically says that you can use soft or hard on their website. This one says grains, but it does not specifically say soft and hard wheat. So I think it can do soft and hard wheat, and I have heard several people who use it and they use it fine. I just struggled and I wasn't sure if I damaged my stones, even though I was following the directions. And when I called, the lady did tell me that, well, if you're gonna do soft, you should just do this one. So she kind of implied that this one wasn't necessarily intended to just do soft. So I switched just in case, but since then I have heard of people using it. This one does specifically say soft and hard, and then a ton of other things, non-oily, everything basically. I wrote the company though, and I asked them, can you re-mill with the Mockmill? And you may be surprised because I've seen some very big YouTubers say you can re-mill with it, and they said, we do not recommend it. So I was kind of shocked because I was like, well, that's what everybody says they're doing. So what I have gathered is that you can re-mill with this. I have seen people re-mill with it. So if it is corn and you want it very coarse, so if you're gonna basically stage this up and it's gonna be like cracked, then I think you can re-mill it. But they do not actually recommend that you re-mill. So again, if it's pretty fine flour and you go to re-mill it again, it probably is just gonna stop up your machine and then you're gonna have to clean it. But it is easier to clean this one than it is this one. So just a tidbit, they do not, at least the person I talked to said they do not recommend re-milling, but you can kind of do it. Okay, so we're gonna use it and I'm gonna do it the same way. I back the stones off, I'm gonna turn it on and add some flour. Okay, so that was intermission. While this was going, measured out my starter for the bread that I'm about to bake. Okay, but I wanted to show you, I do tip mine up a little bit sometimes. You are not supposed to pull on this, but this is okay. So I do tip it up a little bit just to kind of make sure that it all gets out of there. And sometimes I will adjust it larger to smaller to, again, make sure that it's completely cleared. I will say temperature-wise that this one may actually be warmer. I have seen, again, on YouTube, different... Some people say that this gets it hotter. Some people say that this one gets it hotter. I don't know, but I think both of them keep it at a safe temperature. Maybe this one gets it hotter because it's slower. I mean, it does 100 grams per minute. Should have thought of that when I put some in there, but I needed the flour for my recipe, so I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and mill it and we'll pause it and put them together. Okay, so now I think what I would like to do is I would like to show you, I'm not gonna pull the spout, it's so tempting to pull the spout. I am going to show you how to take it apart. And I'm gonna show you the inside and just see, I think there will be some flour in it. I wanted to show you the inside of this one since I showed you the inside of the NutriMill Harvest. But basically I still think that they're cleaner. So you push around the back. See if I can get my fingers around there. You just press in the back. This pops off, and then you have to spin this until it's loose. And this one does have a little bit in the lid, which I will just flip, I'll flip out in the sink in a minute. And I'm not gonna keep it just because it could be really old, or it could just be now. And then, okay, look inside. It does have some flour around here. So from time to time, I do take it and clean that out. But look at these stones. I mean, the stones are not ground. And let's see if you can see it. There is, let's see if I can dust some of it out so that you can clear it so that you can see it. But there is a tiny brush. Let's see if you can see it. Can you see it? There is a brush right here. Yeah, lean up and over. I'm so thankful for my kids videoing, but there's a little bitty brush. Maybe you can't really see it great because of the flour in there. But yeah, that little sweeper is making sure that it gets all the flour out. Now, you can tell that there is a little bit of buildup along the side, so I will clean that out from time to time, but it is not a huge deal. And there's no plastic piece here, or not a rubber piece here to get anything stuck in there.
Like
so basically,
in the other one, there was rubber.
in the other one. So I'll just take a brush in a second, I'll wipe that out, and then clean it off. So I may do another video of how to, you know, set it, but there is a way to set this to, like there's 10 numbers on the side, but there is a way basically to go all the way up to 30. So you can go really, really coarse and really, really low. But I may show you that on a different video. So anyways, I hope that kind of helps you, I don't know, see on the inside. I wish I looked at all of the NutriMill Harvest videos that were available at the time. Or maybe not all, but a lot of NutriMill Harvest videos, and there just weren't a ton about it. A lot of videos that I saw were unboxing videos, like, oh, I just got the Harvest, I love it, it's so great. You haven't even used it, you know? So, you love how it looks and you like it, but I didn't feel like it really gave me a good look at how it's gonna go. So, anyways, there are more, I think, on the Mockmill, but hopefully that gave you a look at all three. And I may do, you know, like I said, a more in-depth video later for each one, but that is the comparison of the three. So happy milling and good luck choosing your meal.